Good morning, everyone. Futures Brizio here. It is 10:30 a.m. on Tuesday, July 30th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far. And wanted to bring kind of another layer of analysis option here for you when talking about futures. And so, again, before we get started, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're just finding it for the first time, and of course, leave any questions or comments down below. So, as you know, I've been talking about just using the higher time frames to kind of swing trade these futures and use the Heikin-Ashi smooth indicator just to kind of, again, smooth out the trend and find potential good areas of opportunity to enter. Now, one of the things with futures is if you've been trading futures for any length of time, you know that futures are done by contract month. So therefore, the amount of back data that you have for any particular contract is going to be limited by the length of that contract. And so the shorter time that contract's been on the board, the less data history that's going to be. But even if it's been on the board for a while, it's still going to have pretty limited data history, price history, especially when you go for a higher time frame. So if we look at this is copper, just for an example, this is the September contract. If I go out to the daily chart, this is all I see. Right now, this is pretty good, but it only goes back to basically the beginning of this year when this contract initialized. Okay, and this is September. So I mean, if you're looking at a contract that expires like in August, it's going to be even more limited. I think everything I have up here now is all September. Yeah. So there's one way that you can try to get more price history if you just want to kind of zoom out, take a bigger picture of what's going on in the over time and not restricted to a contract month. So what I use to do that is my TradingView account. I have a free TradingView account. You don't need to pay for a paid version of TradingView for this, okay? Because you're not really using any indicators, and I only need a couple of the included time frames. So if I go over to TradingView and I look at copper over here, let's go to copper. So this is the copper CFD, which is basically the cash market. And you can see this is the daily chart. Now over on the futures account, all as I saw was basically from here to where we are right now. Here on the CFD, you can see much bigger price history. Okay, so and the price action is going to pretty much line up with the futures account. The prices themselves might be a little different, but the price action should be fairly close enough for what you need it for. So of course this is the daily chart, and I can look at the daily and the 4 hour. Because I have a free account, I can't use any of these in between time frames like the 6 or 8 hour. If I try that, I'll get this message right here saying that you can only look at current at certain time intervals. But I really only need the daily and the 4 hour, and that's fine. So I can get a much wider view of what this market's doing and where there might be potential areas for this thing to get caught up at or potentially reverse at, which I may not see on the futures contract. Okay, so for this, obviously I'm looking maybe down here at this level. We might have another level right here, where we had previous resistance now acting as potential support, like right in here. But if we get through there, then probably down here, and then we have these lows in this consolidation area way down in here. So it can help you, potentially have a little bit more confidence in where the trade might be, where the market might be going, that you may not, again, see on the futures contract, especially if you're trading on a contract month that hasn't really developed a lot of price action history yet. So if we look at something like NASDAQ, again, this is the cash NASDAQ, basically the CFD. And you can see here, we had this big uptrend. And then, kind of like around this point here, we broke this structure level. And now it looks like maybe we're trending down. Again, I just say maybe because I'm not here to try to tell you, which direction this is going. But, potentially this looks like, we're at least in a short-term downtrend. Where you might say, well, there's a level right here, there's a level down in here, so who knows? And that's not really the point. And now I'm not a big trend line trader because trend lines are just way too subjective to me. And this is why. Like if I draw this trend line like this, okay, this looks like, hey, we're in a downtrend. Right? We had touch here, touch here, touch here, broke the trend line here, and now we're heading down. But how do I know that's the real trend line? Maybe it's this. So we get touch here, touch here, touch here, and now we're going to bounce and go higher, and ignore this area. Now I don't know if you can ignore this area or not, or is it something like over here, where we, touch, 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 and then break, So, like I said, I'm not really a trend line trader, so I'm just going to take that off. But I'm just showing you that, again, you have a lot more price action history you can look at and potentially look at areas where price might get held up or, that you may not see on the futures contract. And again, all this are the CFDs or the cash market. And to find these, you just, from TradingView, you just, hit your add symbol. I just go to all, and I'll just type in like NASDAQ, and, I'm just looking for like, again, the cash or the CFD. And then, again, it's the same thing with the S&P. Here's the S&P. You can see I drew this trend line on here, but again, it's going to take it off because I'm not a big trend line trader, but interesting to look at to see, where this is at. And I can do that with any of these. Here's natural gas. Okay, again, daily chart. You can kind of look at about where prices right now is at least a congestion area where you can see if you look to the left, we had previous resistance, maybe acting as support, previous support, maybe way back here, way back here. And again, you're not going to see this on the futures chart, on the daily chart, because you're not going to have this kind of price history, because this goes back, over a year ago, way back here. Okay, so it just kind of gives you levels that you can look at. Now, if it gets through here, you can see, okay, well, there's another level right here, there's one here, and then we have this real super duper low way back here that was made back earlier this year. Soybeans, again, same thing. Now on soybeans, if I go out to a little bit higher time frame, actually let me just zoom out on the daily chart here. Okay, so I have this level right here that price is sitting at right now. Okay, here on the daily chart we have this level. If it gets through here, then you can see we've got this congestion zone that's still quite a bit of ways down here, back at these lows back here. Okay, and then we've got maybe another area. I don't want a ray, just want a horizontal line. Like maybe back here somewhere. Okay, something like that. You can take this one off. That one's not as good. So again, it just kind of gives you things you can look at in terms of areas on the chart where potentially price might get held up. Not necessarily reverse, but maybe where you'll have a reaction. Maybe that's pullback areas, etc. So it's just a thought. So basically what I'm doing now is I will start on my futures charts, and I'm looking, if I go to soybeans, all right, so if I'm looking like in here, okay, at this area, if I was looking back here and I'm looking for a potential trade, I'm saying, okay, well, I got this area here on the 4-hour chart. Okay, this was back around July, well, between this initial push down, this little pullback, it's between like July 23rd and 26th, right, somewhere in there. Then I jump over to the futures chart, and I look at July 23rd. Now, of course, I can go to a 4-hour, but let's just stick on the daily, and let's zoom back in a little bit here. Well, here's that level right here, okay, here's that area right here. This looks valid. I look to the left here, right? There's not really, anything here to stop this from coming down further. and you can see, we had this little pullback here. It went right through there, didn't even look at it, and now we're sitting at this level right here. And if it gets through there, then again, I think down here is probably more reasonable target area back into this original breakout range that happened. Well, this breakout happened almost 4 years ago, back in August of 2020. Okay, so like I said, guys, all this is I'm just giving you, when you're looking at your price history and where price might go and where it might get held up, where there might be support or resistance or reversals or at least pullbacks. Sometimes it's hard to get enough data on a futures chart, especially when the higher up you go in time frame, because it just limits your price history by the contract. And at the beginning of a contract month, when it first starts being traded and the volume starts to actually come into it, the price action is going to be very choppy and very limited, even more so. Now, over time, it'll smooth out, but it's never going to give you the type of price history that, like, the cash market or a CFD would give you. Okay, this is the soybean CFD, and again, this just gives you more price history. It's not that you want to get hung up on all this price history, but it's just that it gives you a little bit more confidence in kind of zooming out and seeing the bigger picture and knowing where price might end up going on the futures contract. So again, I'm still, my initial look is at the futures chart on a 1, 2, 3, 4 hour chart, and I'm just looking at potential setups based on what I see for trend, and then maybe right before I click that, in this case, click that sell button, I'm going to jump out to the daily chart of the CFD and just say, okay, am I sitting at a major area of support or resistance where potentially I might get caught in a bad trade? Not that you're ever going to know 100%, but this should help you maybe have a little bit more confidence in that trade, and that, hey, you're in a trending market, you're still at a mid-range of the chart, between a big high and a big low, say like on soybeans, on this daily chart, we look, we had these highs way back here, and we have these lows way back here. Well, we're approaching those lows, but we're still kind of in between those major levels, and so price will continue to work its way down. Now, sometimes you do get reactions off of these levels because traders are doing the same thing. They're looking to the left. Like we had this area way back here in December of 2020, and when price hit that area again right here, we went back up, okay, and for quite a while. But eventually it did break down because we are still in a downtrend, and those areas are not going to be matched until we get like down into this area. Sorry about that, guys. I dropped something. All right, and so anyways, I just wanted to throw this out there to everybody. And again, you don't have to do this, but if you happen to have TradingView, and you can just sign up for a free TradingView account. Again, you don't have to have a paid version, because for what you're using it for right here, this is all just, this is all just, free data you can get. The only difference with the free version is it limits like the number of indicators you can put on your chart. You don't get all the in-between time frames. You just get the main ones, like 15-minute, 5-minute, 1 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly, monthly. You don't get all these, but again, you don't need it. For what I'm doing with it, the daily and the 4 hours perfectly fine, and that's all. I'm just going out here looking at the bigger picture and seeing, okay, I just want to make sure I'm not slamming into a major high or low on the chart, coming into an area like this where price gets really choppy. But it doesn't mean, again, that there wouldn't be reactions off areas like this when price comes down into here. That might be, if I was in a trade from up here, I might kind of manage my trade as it comes into this area, which I'm not in one right now, so that's fine. But if I was, this is an area I'd be looking to, like, say, okay, I'd be a little bit cautious coming in, selling into an area like this on the shorter time frame because of this big reaction it had off of here previously. Okay. So, anyways, guys, I hope that's helpful. In terms of where we're at today. So again, with copper, there was another short selling opportunity, and I actually was in this, but I got out of that this morning right over here. On the NQ and the ES, again, we're just we started coming down yesterday, and then so I actually was short the ES. I closed it this morning. I probably should have just let it run, but the reason why I close it is because you can see on all these other pullbacks, once the Heikin-Ashi smooth painted a red candle, it didn't look back, right? We had this move here, right? As soon as it painted that red candle, there was no looking back for that next leg down. Well, we did that yesterday, and then now we've painted, again, three bullish candles here. So, look, as long as this area holds, technically still in a downtrend, and again, coming back to the cash chart of the S&P, all right, still a little bit of a question here what this is going to do. We've kind of filled in a little gap on the chart right here, but from a structure standpoint, have we broken structure? Maybe. I don't know. It's not particularly clear to me, so I'm a little bit more cautious on that. But for NASDAQ, it looks a little bit more in terms of structure break. We had higher, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and then boom, we broke that structure right here, and now we're heading down a potential lower high right here. So that's what I'm looking at right now, and to me, NASDAQ's a little bit more clear on that. So I might potentially think about getting back, into NASDAQ if we can get some kind of resumption of this downtrend. I do have the MACD on the chart here, which I don't necessarily need to use, but if we on top of getting maybe some more bearish action in this area, if I also get like a MACD crossover here, this is the 3-hour chart, then that would give me a little bit more confidence as well to potentially peg another short position. So we'll see how that goes. I'll keep an eye on it. So that's the same with the ES and the NQ. There's really nothing to do on natural gas right now. We're not in any position to sell anything right now. Same thing on soybeans. We're already, I just started following this market again. So, this literally was days ago, and I wasn't watching it then. Copper, again, I was in it, but we're sitting back at lows right now, so I'm out of that. And the other one that I was looking at is the euro. This is euro futures, so it's not euro USD. This is euro futures. You can see I actually am in a short on this right now from this level right here, with a target down here. So we'll see. This is kind of new to me. We do have a MACD cross. We did, so we did have potentially a nice pullback here and maybe a resumption of this downtrend. So that's kind of a new one I'm watching. So I'm just kind of experimenting around with some different markets here and basically just watching the price action play out. And again, on these longer time frames, it's pretty slow, but that's okay. It gives me plenty of time to think about it and look at the cash markets and just see how they line up in terms of levels. So, but again, guys, the main point of this was just to talk about this type of stuff and how you can, if you still need a little bit more price history and chart area to look at, then just consider using, use the cash charts. Go to TradingView if you don't already have a TradingView account. Create a free one, and just pull up these symbols. You can search them, as I showed you. And just pull up these symbols and just put the cash or the CFDs up there, and that will give you, similar to a forex pair, just kind of give you continuous price history. And like I said, it should line up pretty close. It won't be exact in terms of the price or the way the chart looks, but it'll be pretty close. It's close enough for what you need it for. So, all right. So I'm gonna leave it there. Hope you guys have a good day. We'll keep you posted on this as we go forward. Any questions, comments, again, leave them down below. Smash that like button, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.